Despite the abundance of waterways in the Nigerian commercial capital Lagos, water transportation still lags far behind as a means of commuting around the city. In a bid to provide a suitable option to road transport for residents, a Nigerian firm has come up with a concept of a water taxi. CGTN's Deji Badmus has more on that story.
If there's one thing Lagos is notorious for, it is traffic jam. One research shows residents spend an estimated 6 hours in traffic commuting around the city every day. But with the city's improving ferry service, more residents are now trying out the waterways, which cut commuting time by about 90%. And Sandra is one of them.
The ferry does it fast, yeah, because I spend barely 30 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes getting to work on the island. But if I'm going to take the bus, I spend close to 3 to 4 hours, depending on the time I leave my house. The ferry is very seamless. I mean, boarding, very seamless. It's very convenient for me. It's quicker for me, and stress-free, really, basically.
The improved ferry service in the city is thanks in part to Lagos Water Taxi, or WAXI for short, run by a local firm, Hallow Waters. CEO Andrew Olanna says his initial plan was to operate large vessels that would carry petroleum product, but had to change his mind because of the financial constraints and the opportunity he saw in water transportation.
When we started in 2018, March, the ridership was about 2,000 passengers daily, in, out, 2,000 out of Ikorodu and then 2,000 into Ikorodu. Now the figure has grown to about 3,005 daily each way. Unfortunately, with the limited resources that we have, we're only able to capture less than 10% of that market, while the substandard boats are still the one operating a sizable portion of the market.
In a city of about 20 million people, only around 700,000 residents commute by waterways, leaving the rest to make use of the roads. And with no railway system in place, it's only natural that the roads would be congested. Experts say water transportation is the way to go to help address the city's traffic chaos.
It puzzles us when we hear things like the government has gone to buy BRT buses and they are doing this and they are doing that. You know, you're congesting the road more by putting 800 buses on the road. Now you're saying that the infrastructure is poor, the roads are collapsing and all of that, and you're buying 800 more buses and putting on the same road. If you put 800 boats on the water, it's not going to weigh the water down. It's a service that needs to be provided, but private sector is waiting to take over that business.
Despite the WAXI initiative, investment in the city's water transportation is still very low. And there's also the issue of safety concerns by commuters.
A lot of us are not wonderful swimmers, and this is water we're talking about. So really, yes, people are scared of using the water because they don't feel safe. Nothing is guaranteed, but I mean, just the feeling of being safe will enable someone decide to try out a new means of transportation. Example, the water. So users are not safe yet, you know. So if we can work on safety, if we can really work on safety, it will go a long way to, you know, encourage users to ply the waterways.
WAXI is setting the trend in safety, and it is the reason why more and more people are now getting attracted to the waterways. But Lagos water transportation is still far from the ideal. It requires much more investment than it is getting at the moment. And until that happens, the road would continue to remain the preferred means of transportation. And that can only mean one thing: more traffic nightmares in a city reeling from congestion. Deji Badmus, CGTN, Lagos, Nigeria.